Good morning and good evening to everyone. So today is the day 10th of our 16-day Losar New Year of the Ox practice. So the main part of our 16-day program is the practice of this Sutra of 3 heaps, or the Sutra with the 3 heaps, with the 3 components. And by relying on this sadhana composed, put together by one of the previous throne holders of Drigum Kagyu, Kyabgun Tenzin Chugilodro. Then, as you all know, also, we have initially 2 other sets of activities happening concurrently with many of the people who are participating in this daily practice, sponsoring them. One is the offering of lanterns at Penang Bodhi Heart Sanctuary, the offering of these New Year lanterns, the sponsorship of that. Then also another set of activities are also happening concurrently in Nepal, at mainly the Buddha Stupa. Daily, there is the offering of the cleansing smoke offering, sang. Offerings have also been sent to 10 nearby monasteries in the Buddha area to also do sang practice for us. In terms of the 10 monasteries, of course, we just say whenever you guys do sang offering, please include. And so we sent this sang powdered incense as well as some cash offerings to each of the monasteries. And I just got a message from Lama Ringzin that says that the food, it will be tomorrow lunch. So tomorrow, which now is tonight, so to say, for Nepal. So tomorrow lunch, food will be offered to homeless and beggars in the Buddha Stupa area. Lama Ringzin also made the point and said that maybe there aren't that many people, because since the pandemic, a lot of the beggars that are usually there have somehow just disappeared. I think many of them realized there isn't going to be anything much there, and have gone back to village or wherever they can survive through this period. Then also feeding the dogs and pigeons. Then the third set of activities I shared on Facebook. Maybe Jasper, if you can find that, share screen from Bhutan. The third set of activities on Facebook. I know not everyone who is like participating on Zoom necessarily get on Facebook. So if we can share screen now, I can show you some of the images of the place in Bhutan. Mainly in Bhutan, it is through the connection of one of our participants for this daily practice. Chugi Om, who's a friend in Bhutan, her family, they own this place called the Gangte Palace. It's called a palace because the second king of Bhutan resided there for a period of time. Now, so second king of Bhutan, which is Chugyeom's great-grandfather's time, I believe. And then later, the second king gifted this property to Chugye's family, the Dorji family. And since then, it has been in the family. Yeah, so this is this is right at the entrance to the property. You see the little gate there. And behind that gate is the chapel dedicated to one of the 5 Tserima sisters. In particular, this is the one dedicated to Tega Dozangma. Tega Dozangma is one of the 5 Tserima sisters. Next image. So now this picture is taken from inside the grounds of the Gangte. And in the foreground is a stupa, a Bhutanese style stupa. And then in the background, again, you see, now standing on the other side, you see the little gate next to the gate that comes into the property. And then the chapel of Tega Dozangma's chapel is back there. Next. This is a representation of Tega Dozangma. She's green in color, rides a dragon. I did not know this. It's only in preparing this set of postings I discovered that there is a tradition of associating her particular activity is the activity of pacifying infectious diseases. So very auspicious interdependence that we did not, plan or anything. So may she help us pacify this pandemic, minimizing the harm for those who are most vulnerable to this ripening of this particular negative karma on a pandemic level. Next. And this is a view, a front view of the Gangte Palace. It's, we call it, it's called a palace because the king used to reside them. But don't imagine this to be like, I don't know, your English palace or anything like that. But it's a very nice building, which is now, Chugye's family is running it as a very nice hotel. There's another building, the restaurant dining area across from this. So this is the front facade of the Gangte. Then you go inside and then there's more, a beautiful, very traditional courtyard. So let's go to the next. This is inside the chapel. This is the practice space of the particular monk. There is the caretaker of the chapel. So he sits there with his text. You can see his eyeglasses. And then next to him is the throne for the Lama. Next. And this is a tanka of the Tserima 5 sisters. The central one is called Tashi Tserima. And then in the 4 directions are the 4 sisters, also the dakinis of the 4 activities of pacifying, enriching, magnetizing, and destroying. Shigewangda, the 4 activities. In this tanka, you see on the top is Guru Rinpoche, because according to the story of the Tserima sisters, initially when the Buddha Dharma came to this region, the Tserigma sisters were already existing as powerful spirit deities that control the mountainous regions in this area. And although initially resisting the Buddha Dharma, eventually Guru Rinpoche subjugated them, and they quote unquote converted, yeah, and became defenders of the Dharma. Then a couple of centuries later, their connection with Milarepa ripened, and at that point they became disciples of Milarepa. In the Milarepa's life, it said that the five sisters were the foremost disciples of Milarepa in the non-human realm. Whereas in the human realm, of course, we know of like Rechungpa and Gampopa as Milarepa's most like important and prominent disciples. It is said that in the non-human realm, the five Tserigma sisters are the main disciples of Milarepa. So you could say, that they are also part of the lineage. So in this Thangka, in the left bottom corner, and left and right is spoken from the perspective of the central deity. Oh, it disappeared. The image disappeared. Anyway, in that Thangka, the image of Tekar Dosangma is in the left bottom corner of the Thangka. So anyway, so on the bottom left corner of the Thangka is Tekar Dosangma. No. Spoken from the perspective of the deity, left and right, that's the left. Yeah. Our right, deity's left. This is a tradition. Whenever we're speaking of Thangka, shrine, we have to speak from the perspective of the central deity and not from our perspective. It might seem like a cultural form, but this cultural form is, I think, very good. It helps us to train our perspective. It helps us to kind of shake us up a little bit, Everything we think from my perspective, left and right. Here, they talk in terms of deity's perspective, left and right. Yeah. So, and in particular, then at this place, an extensive puja service is planned on the 27th Saturday the 27th, for the main, and that day is the day of Chodru Duchen, the great festival of the month of miracles. Chodru Duchen is on the 27th, and so that's what's the third set of activities. And all the names of the people who have sponsored the lanterns and the sang will be sent to Bhutan, to this place. Okay, so now please, page 4 of our text. Gangte Palace, as I said the other day, is in the Paro Valley. Paro Valley is where you fly into Bhutan. The airport is in Paro. Then from Paro, which is in the furthest west, so to say, of Bhutan, from Paro, by road going to Thimphu, the capital, it's about an hour, a little less than an hour. Thimphu is the capital. Then from Thimphu you basically from Paro you keep going east until you go to eastern Bhutan. In the last trip to Bhutan that first time I went to eastern Bhutan. And going to eastern Bhutan is not so common in most people's kind of visit to Bhutan. Central Bhutan is like this, sometimes called the spiritual heart of Bhutan. That place is called Bumthang. But basically all over Bhutan are all these important sites. Many of the sites associated with Guru Rinpoche, and some associated with Milarepa. And then, of course, all the great masters that have appeared in Bhutan, various sites. So it's, as many of you know, Bhutan has been in the news a lot about how relatively well they are handling this pandemic. Very few cases. In part, everyone is cooperating under the leadership of the king. And all the ministers are working hard. At one point, I don't know now, I heard that the prime minister and his immediate cabinet members quarantined themselves in the parliament building and did not go home to their families for weeks and months, I think. So as to continue the important work of leading the country, but also not to endanger their families. They slept in their offices. So the dedication to the people. So page 4. In the space before me, I envision the Buddha, the Lord of Sages, surrounded by unfathomable root and lineage gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Dungi namka tompa tupe wampo la koro saju ge lama dhan sanje changsen patu mebe kone shu barzon. Antonio?
I and all mother sentient beings, extensive as space, take refuge in the root and lineage gurus. We take refuge in perfect Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors. We take refuge in the holy Dharma, free from attachment and peaceful nirvana. We take refuge in the noble assembly of Bodhisattvas, endowed with realization and liberation.
Dadan Drova Margyo Namge Tada Nyambe Senjen Tamje Sawa Dan Gyube Lama Namla Gyabzu Jyo Sobe Sanje Chum Dende Namla Gyabzu Jivo Shiva Chadra Dampe Jo Namla Gyabzu Jivo Ridu Niden Gyase Pabe So Namla Gyabzu Jivo Dadan Drova Margyo Namge Tada Nyambe Senjen Tamje Tsawa Dang Gyube Lama Namla Gyabzu Jivo Sobe Sanje Chum Dende Namla Gyabzu Jivo Shiva Chadya Dambe Chu Namla Gyabzu Jivo Ridro Niden Gyase Pabe Tso Namla Gyabzu Jivo Dada Drova Margyo Namge Dada Nyambe Senjen Tamje Tsawa Dang Gyube Lama Namla Gyabzu Jivo Sobe Sanje Chum Dende Namla Gyabzu Jivo Shiva Chadra Dambe Cho Namla Gyabzu Jivo Ridro Niden Gyase Pabe So Namla Gyabzu Jivo. This translation here, I want to point out, now I'm looking more carefully at the Tibetan. That line, I think Antonio asked this question, we take refuge in the holy Dharma, free from attachment and peaceful nirvana, right? So here is Shiva Chadra, Shiva Cha, So here, I think, because things that are written in verses in Tibetan, sometimes syllables are dropped. And so sometimes it's hard to know, is there and or comma? So Shiva Chadra, which is here translated as free from attachment and peaceful. I'm pretty sure it should actually be translated as we take refuge in the holy Dharma, free from attachment to peace, attachment to the state of being quiet. That's the literal translation of nirvana. So the brackets of nirvana is saying this word peaceful, Shiva, is referring to that limited nirvana that we talked about, that limited sense of peace. This limited sense of peace that is peaceful only in personal terms, without any further concern about others, free from being attached to that kind of peacefulness, that kind of quiet state. So it says, in other words, we take refuge in the Dharma, where the main focus is bodhicitta, rather than just our own individual peace of mind. Yeah. So that's the, of course, it's referring to a very advanced state of individual peace, which, right now, you and I maybe, not really, don't have any idea of what that is. But right now, what we can understand from this statement, here, our take-home lesson is, don't be tempted to simply be content with that little peace of mind that you get from Dharma practice. Or don't let your Dharma practice be about getting that kind of personal peace of mind, which understandably, that's why most of us are practicing. We want some relief. But here is reminding us, that some relief, even if that took us to the door, to the gate, once we have entered the gate of Mahayana, then it cannot just be, about that limited motivation, that limited sense of peace, that limited sense of myself. This is not something, theoretical. We have to address this, look at this, something really genuine. So one example, last night I shared on my Facebook page, a link to a video called Hermits. So this is about the retreat or hermit tradition that is in contemporary China, on this mountain that historically has had many people go into this mountain for retreat called Zhongnanshan. If you watch this, one of the themes you should note is that these are people who have gone into the mountains to do a retreat. Many of them Buddhist, but not exclusively. There are also Taoist hermits and retreatants up in the mountain. Then if you note, even though the producer, the interviewer, Bill Porter, clearly, appreciates this tradition of practicing in the mountains. And clearly, the people on the mountain are committed to this practicing in the mountains. And clearly, with the Buddhist, it's quite explicit. They're all grounded in the Bodhisattva path. They are all grounded in the Mahayana tradition of practicing for the benefit of all beings, right? But you can see that even that, they still express this kind of tension. They are very self-aware in a sense, like especially one of the monks that he was talking to. And that monk said something like, he said, yeah, because I think, Bill Porter was saying, kind of like strongly emphasizing how, oh, you guys up in the mountains, you're up here in the mountains, you are like doing the real thing. Whereas down there, right, with all the monasteries, the temples, it has become so commercialized. So Bill Porter is sort of like, the Buddhist things that are happening around the cities, around the towns, they are corrupted, or, they're not the real thing. But this monk, I think very honestly, he said, we should not look at it this way. He said, I'm up here on this mountain because I want to be up here. And I say that I'm practicing for the benefit of all beings. But from another perspective, he says, I cannot handle what's down there. So I'm up here. So I'm not going to belittle the ones who are down there, taking care of these places and doing their best. He said, I don't, he didn't use these words, but basically he says, it's hard to say whose motivation is more pure. He says, but what I can say to you is I cannot handle what's down there, so I'm up here. And I'm trying my best to mean it while up here, that I'm practicing for the benefit of others. And he says, those that are down there doing the hard work, I'm sure many of them also think, I want to go into the mountains. And he says, if all of them go into the mountains, then what's going to happen down there? So I think this is very honest, very sincere. Not saying, from someone who is living up there, when he says that, you can tell, he's saying, it's hard to tell. So this motivation, this Mahayana motivation, it has to be heartfelt. It has to be honest. And we keep refining this motivation. We keep refining this motivation. So even I would say, like, the contrast, between those who have chosen to live a life without family and children and everything. Yes, conventionally we said, oh, they have given up so much to dedicate to practice. But at the same time, many of you with all kinds of responsibilities, livelihood to make, not just for yourself, but to take care of family, take care of friends, and yet to try to figure out how to practice Dharma. Maybe, you are doing more than the ones who supposedly give up so much to be in monasteries or to be in nunneries. So the point is, I think it's really hard to tell. In many ways, many of you have more opportunities to be trained in the true training of mind. Just observing my friends around me, and seeing they're married, and that's really ego. If ego comes up strongly, immediately you see how painful that is. And for those who don't have those conditions, we think, oh, I don't have ego. Well, it's because nobody is challenging you, you know. It's easy not to have ego when for the most part, nobody is challenging you, you know. I know that I live in this house. It's just me, you know. I just need to walk across the yard, you know, where two people live together. Then, you know, and they say, well, you want to know about ego? Just hang out here a little bit. Be a fly on the wall and you will see. So there are so many circumstances, you know, for us to practice. We should not say, oh, if only I'm on a mountain. Oh, if only I'm single. Or conversely, you know, if only I'm not on the mountain. If only I am not single. Wherever you are, that's right there is your practice, right there. Right there. And then we rejoice in whatever else other people's circumstances are. So this is the way to go. So now, fixing our motivation, beginning with the four immeasurables. Then on the basis of the four immeasurables, we say, then now we will practice this confession, practice this purification. So Sandra, please, the next section.
May all sentient beings who have not realized that a self in all appearances are by nature dharmadhatu have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness which is free from suffering. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Dada nawa tamche jugi yingi ranshin yinpala de dharmato be semchen tamche dewa dang dewe gyudan dambara gyurji dungyang dang dungyang gi gyudang dewa gyurji dungyang mebe dewa dang me dewa gyurji nering chadang nidang dewa tamnyang la nebra gyurji dadang nangwa tamche jugi yingi ranshin yinpa la de dharma tobe semchen tamche dewa dang dewe gyudan dembra gyurji dungyao dang dungyao gi gyudang dewa gyurji dungyao mepe dewa dhamme dewa gyurji nering chadang nidang dewa tanyang la nebra gyurji dadang margyu namgi dadang unangwa tamche jugi yingi rangshin yinpa la de dharma tobe semchen tamche dewa dang dewe gyudan dembra gyurji dungyao dang dungyao gi gyudan dewa gyurji dungyao mepe dewa dhamme dewa gyurji nering chadang nidang dewa dangyao la nebra gyurji. Randy?
May I swiftly attain the sublime state of perfectly complete awakening for the sake of all mother sentient beings. For this purpose, I shall make offerings to the 35 Buddhas, and having evoked their heart pledge, I shall engage in the practice of confessing downfalls.
Semchen tamche ki tundu nirwa yanda bara zobe sanje ki gompa rinpo je dombara je deje du dewa sheba sumju sanga ju jing tu dam gune tongwa shabe choga la juk para The objects of refuge dissolve into me. Kyabyu nam rangla tempar gyuru. And today we can add the short blessing of the offerings, starting on page 6. By the truth of the three jewels, by the blessings of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the great power of the fully completed two accumulations, and by the force of the inconceivable and utterly pure nature of Dharmadhatu, all faults and defects of the entire ground of this abode, such as chunks of dirt and stone, gravel, unevenness, and crookedness, are dispelled. Kunju sumki denpa dan sanje dan chanchu senpa tamchenki chenche labdan sokni yongsu sobe nga tang chenpo dan chuki ye ranshin nampar dakjin samki mikya pe toki deni sashi tamche sengma dan gyomo bardu la sobe ne gyon dan rade Now page 9, the multiplying the offerings through power of visualization and concentration and the vast motivation and the recitation of the Dharani on page 9. Namo Ranatraya Namo Bhagavate Vajrasara Pramadane Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyada Om Bhadre Bhadre Mahabhadre Mahatejo Bhadre Mahabhidya Bhadre Mahabodhi Cheta Bhadre Mahabodhi Mandopasa Kramana Bhajre Sarva Karma Avarana Bishodana Bhadre Soha Namo Rana Traya Namo Bhagavate Vajasara Pramadane Tata Kataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyada Om Bhadre Bhadre Mahabhadre Mahatejo Bhadre Mahabhidya Bhadre Mahabodhi Cheta Bhadre Mahabodhi Mando Pasankramana Bhadre Sarva Karma Avarana Bishodana Bhadre Soho Namo Rana Traya Namo Bhagavate Vajasara Paramadane Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyada Om Bhadre Bhadre Mahabhadre Mahatejo Bhadre Mahabhidya Bhadre Mahabodhi Cheta Bhadre Mahabodhi Mando Pasankramana Bhadre Sarva Karma Avarana Vishodhana Bhadre Soha. Now the invitation to the Buddhas. So this is on page, starting on page 9. Lucrezia, can you please say that section on page 9 to the middle of page 10?
Compassionate, transcendent conquerors, dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed us. In the past, when you, the 35 compassionate, transcendent conquerors, engaged in bodhisattva deeds, you arouse bodhicitta and vow to cleanse the obscurations of wandering beings in times when the 5 degenerations are rampant. Following this pledge, in order to protect us helpless wandering beings, today we invite you to safeguard and stand by us as our last resort. Having come, regard us with eyes of compassion and purify our faults and downfalls. Please come and cause our store of merit to increase.
Jujuna shube jumdende tuje jempo dan tempa nam dhala gongsu so. Top of page 10. Jumdende tuje jempo dan tempa sumju sanga go po Togye Namngon Janju Zembe Jeba Jobeze Ningma Nga Do Dowa Namgi Deba Jongwa Togye Jin Tugdam Jitara Sheba Deshindu Denda Cha Gomegi Dowa Kyobele Du Gong Kyab Dam Punyen Du Jin Ren Jin China Tuje Jingi Jigne Da Jagi Ni Tun Jun Shin So Nam Gi So Belwe Le Du Jompra I'm going to do some other of this section of invitation, continuing at the bottom of page 10. Mahamuni, in this place and time, please come here, exalted ones. Holy ones, please come here. Omniscient one, please come here. Mahamuni, for the sake of others, chief of humans, please come here. Omniscient one among humans, please come here. Born in the lotus pond of moral discipline and suffused with the water of perseverance, your disciples gather around you like bees. Lotus sages, please come here. Dwelling in the noble truths, endowed with the eyes of love and compassion, you roar the sound of selflessness. Victorious lion, please come here. Your discipline reminds of a pure water stream, causing the buds on the branches of awakening to bloom into garlands of flowers and to develop into the perfect fruit of total liberation. Victorious tree, please come here. Endowed with wisdom vast and profound, and with the unlimited water of samadhi, you are a treasury filled with the yogin's gems, ocean of good qualities. Please come here. Endowed with a glorious mandala of compassion and perfectly adorned with the light rays of wisdom, you open the lotus mind of disciples. Capable son, please come here. Invincible to adversaries, the deeds performed in the example of your perfect life were of a healer and his following. You won the trust of the deer-like returners and non-returners. Capable mountain, please come here. Now at the bottom of page 22, all are dressed in the style of a renunciate Nirmanakaya and are adorned with the 32 excellent marks and 80 minor marks, such as the crown protuberance and wheels on the feet. With their 60 aspects of melodious speech, they proclaim the clear sound of the Mahayana teachings. As their minds do not move from Vajra-like samadhi, they clearly understand all objects of knowledge in the 3 times. Their bodies are garbed in the 3 dharma robes, and garlands of light shine like the sun from their bodies to alleviate the pain of miserable destinies. With eyes open wide like lotus petals, they behold me and all sentient beings with great compassion. Upon merely beholding them, these great beings effortlessly accomplish the temporary and ultimate purposes of all sentient beings. They thus abide with legs in Vajra posture. As we raise beautiful jewel parasols with golden handles, delightfully adorned all around, with pleasing forms so lovely to behold, we make unceasing offerings to the Lord of Sages. And so now we're going to do this next section on page 24. So each of you, when I call your name, please read the section that comes up. I'm going to start with the first section. To the Bhagavan, the Tathagata, the Arhat, the perfectly complete Buddha, the one with perfect knowledge and conduct, the Sugata, the knower of the worlds, the guide who tames beings, unsurpassed one, and teacher of gods and humans, peerless king of the Shakyas, I prostrate. fully bowing my head to your dustless, immaculate feet. With golden complexion and earth-touching gesture, you cleanse the misdeeds of 10,000 eons and are the glory of this world of endurance. Homage to the Supreme Guide Shakyamuni. Next, Omar, and then the next is Claudia. Bottom of page 25.
With blue complexion, holding a vajra in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds of 10,000 eons and are the glory of the essence of space realm above. Homage to the one who has fully conquered with vajra essence.
With white complexion, holding a vajra and sun, you cleanse the misdeeds of 25,000 eons and are the glory of the jewel endowed realm in the east. Homage to jewel radiating light, who clears all darkness.
Cecile.
With blue complexion, holding a naga and a snake, you cleanse the misdeeds of 8 eons and are the glory of the realm pervaded by nagas in the southeast. Homage to the Dharmadhatu, sovereign king of nagas.
Jasper. Jasper, unmute. With yellow complexion.
With yellow complexions, holding a volume of scriptures and a sword, you cleanse all my seeds of speech and all the glory of the realm of the brave in the south. Homage to the leader of the brave who overcomes all discord.
Elena on the top of page 27.
With crimson complexion, holding a sun and lotus, you cleanses and misdeeds of mine, and are the glory of the realm endowed with joy in the southwest. Homage to the glorious joy who delight in the Dharma.
Leonard, and then Adriana.
With red complexion, holding a jewel and a fire sphere, you cleanse the misdeeds of causing schism in the Sangha and are the glory of the realm endowed with luminosity in the west. Homage to the persevering jewel fire.
With white complexion, holding a jewel and moon, you cleanse the misdeeds of 1 eon and are the glory of the realm crescent light in the northwest. Homage to jewel moonlight, who clears
Tracy, next section.
With green complexion, holding an utpala flower marked with 2 eyes, you cleanse the misdeeds of denigrating the sublime ones, and are the glory of the realm drumbeat in the north. Homage to meaningful to behold future Dharma.
To the top of page 28, Samantha, and then Anna Isabel.
With light green complexion, holding a jewel and lotus, you cleanse the misdeeds of an expiable act of killing one's mother, and are the glory of the real radiant light in the northeast. Homage to jewel moon, shining coolness.
With a small color complexion, holding a mirror in each hand, you cleanse the misdeed of the inexplicable act of killing one's father, and are the glory of the realm ash cover below. Homage to the stainless one of insight and meditation.
Vicky.
With white complexion, holding a stalk of a wood apple in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds of the inexpiable act of killing an arhat, and are the glory of the realm, glory and thou above. Homage to glorious giving of immaculate wisdom.
Top of page 29, Daniela, and then Christina.
With crimson complexion, holding a lotus and a sun, you cleanse the misdeed of drawing blood from a Tathagata's body with evil intent, and are the glory of the realm devoid of obscurations in the east. Homage to the immaculate, impeccable, pure one.
With pure yellow complexion, holding a lotus and marking with the sun, you cleanse the misdeeds in 10,000 eons and are the glory of the realm without sorrow in the southeast. Homage to giving purity, Lord of comfort.
Joyce.
With blue complexion, holding a water sphere and teaching the Dharma, you cleanse the misdeeds of abusing an arhat and are the glory of the stainless realm in the south. Homage to the water god who washes the stains of the city.
Rowan. Please unmute, top of page 30. With white complexion, holding an ocean of mirror, you cleanse the misdeeds of killing a bodhisattva and are the glory of the clear realm in the southwest. Homage to the god of water gods, washing away stains. Fabiola.
Oops.
Middle of page 30.
With red complexion, holding the stalk of a lotus and a wish-fulfilling tree, you cleanse the misdeeds of killing a noble disciple and are the glory of the realm, bliss endowed in the west. Homage to the good glory, perfecting the dual purpose.
Waiting. Unmute.
With crimson complexion, holding a sandalwood branch and a wood apple fruit. You cleanse the misdeeds of stealing the wealth of the Sangha and are the glory of the realm pervaded by sweet scents in the northwest. Homage to glorious sandalwood.
Top of 31, Melissa.
With red complexion, holding a lotus marked with two suns, you cleanse the misdeeds of demolishing stupas and are the glory of the realm endowed with brilliance in the north. Homage to infinite brilliance pervade.
Larry.
With white complexion, holding a sphere of light in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds born from hatred and are the glory of the realm meaningful in the northeast. Homage to glorious light, pure in itself.
Laura Herman. Laura Herman, unmute if you are there. With light blue complexion, holding a sprig of the sorrowless tree, you cleanse the misdeeds born from passion and are the glory of the realm unobscured down below. Homage to glory without sorrow, devoid of all pain. Top of 32, Mariana.
With blue complexion, holding Mount Meru and displaying the lotus mudra, you cleanse the misdeed of 10,000 aeons and are the glory of the ruin, without craving above homage to the church.
With yellow complexion, holding a flower and a wood apple fruit, you cleanse the misdeeds of 100,000 eons and are the glory of the realm where many flowers blossoms in the east. Homage to the lovely glory of flowers.
White complexion, holding a lotus and masses of light, you cleanse the misdeeds of 1,000 aeons and are the glory of the realm pervaded by purity in the southeast. Homage to the radiant pure display.
Ana Elisa.
With red complexion, holding a lotus and sun, you cleanse the misdeeds of 7 eons and are the glory of the realm, lotus endowed in the south. Homage to the display of lotus.
Alexander, top of page 33.
with red complexion, holding a wish-fulfilling jewel in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds born from habitual imprints, and are the glory of the realm with jewels in the southwest. Homage to the glory of wealth, rich with faith and rest.
Kimberly?
With yellow complexion, holding a scripture and sword, you cleanse all misdeeds of the body and are the glory of the realm, clarity endowed in the west. Homage to the glory of mindfulness, of body, mind, knowledge.
Maurice, bottom of 33.
With green complexion, raising a crown in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds of disrespecting the Buddha and the glory of the realm without names in the northwest. Homage to widely renowned glorious name.
Maria Cristina?
With yellow complexion, holding a jeweled crown, ornament, and a victory banner, you cleanse the misdeeds born from jealousy and are the glory of the realm clear power in the north. Homage to the victory banner that crowns the sovereign.
Javier?
With white complexion, displaying the earth-touching mudra, you cleanse the misdeeds of inciting others to crime and are the glory of the unfolding realm in the northeast. Homage to the glorious one who fully succeeds.
Antonio?
With black complexion, holding armor and sword, you cleanse the misdeeds born from pride and are the glory of the realm free of afflictions below. How much is the time in battle?
Sandra, on the top of 35.
With white complexion, displaying the earth-touching mudra and the mudra of bestowing protection, you cleanse the misdeeds born from slander and are the glory of the realm, glory endowed in the east. Homage to the one gone beyond.
Randy, 33. Page 35, I mean, at the middle of that page.
With yellow complexion, holding a sun and a jewel, you cleanse the misdeeds born from rejoicing in the misdeeds of others and are the glory of the realm, illuminating array in the south. Homage to the glorious illuminating.
Lucrezia?
With red complexion and lotus, you cleanse the misdeeds of abandoning the holy Dharma and are the glory of the realm, glory endowed in the west. Homage to all supreme.
With sky blue complexion, holding Mount Meru in both hands, you cleanse the misdeeds of impaired Samayas and are the glory of the realm, precious jewels in the north. Homage to the powerful King Mount Meru, who is free of delusion. So now, next is the 7-limb puja, starting on page 36. I'm going to chant this in Tibetan. Jine suda chuchu jidena dusum sheba mi senge kun dagi malu deda tamche la lodang ayi dangwe chagi o zampo chobe monlam tom dagi gyawa tamche yigi ngonsum du shingi dunye lurab tu bayi gyawa kuna rab tu cha se lo duji dena dunye sanje segi una shubada deda chogi ina maluba tamche gyawa dagi gangwa bo deda ngaba mitse gyazona yangi yenla gyaso dragunji gyawa kunji yonten rabzoji dewa shepa tamche dagi to. Page 38. Meto damba drengwa damba dan senya namdan chukpa dujo da marme chodan tupo damba ye gyawa deda lani choparanji namza damba namdan richo da chema purma reram nyampa dan kope kebar babe jugunji gyawa deda layang choparanji chopa ganam lame gyajewa Teda gyawa tamje la yangmo sampo chola depe tomdagi gyawa kunla chasel choparji. Page 48. Page 48. In the middle of page 48. Ducha shedan timo wangi ni ludang adan deshin yiki kyan tikpa dagi giba chichi bar deda tamche dagi sosoro sha joju gyawa gundang sanje se rangya namdan lodang mi lodang jowa gunji sonang gang laya deda gunji jese dagi rang gangnang joju jiden romana Chanchu rinpa sanje macha ne gombo deda dagi tamje la kolo lana mepa korwa gu nyangen datong kangshe deda la drowa gunla benshen deweji kyopa shingi dune suba yang dagi telmo rabja so warji chase wadang chojing shambada jise yirang kujing so wayi gewa chungse dagi chisaba tamche sobe janju chirango. Top of page 50. In accordance with the 35 Sugatas aspiration to exhaust the karmic veils of those who remember their excellent names and pay homage to them, please bestow the fruits of this wish. So now we are at page 50, at the beginning of the main practice. Yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this first time in English. For those who are reading the homage to the Tathagatas, I think right now let's do it page by page rather than section by section. Yeah, so I'm going to start, and then Omar, you're going to do where I stop to the rest of page 51, and then Claudia just do the entire page 52, and then Cecile the entire page 53. So on and so forth. Throughout all time, all sentient beings take refuge in the Guru, take refuge in the Buddhists, take refuge in the Dharma, take refuge in the Sanghas. Homage to the Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat, the perfectly complete Buddha Shakyamuni.
Homage to the one who has fully conquered with Vajra essence. Homage to the jewel radiant, radiating light. Homage to the sovereign king of Nagas. Homage to the leader of the brave. Homage to the glorious joy. Homage to the jewel fire. Homage to the jewel moonlight. Homage to the meaningful to behold. Homage to the jewel moon. Homage to the stainless one. Homage to the glorious giving. Homage to pure one.
Homage to giving of purity. Homage to the water god. Homage to the god of water gods. Homage to good glory. Homage to glorious sandalwood. Homage to infinite brilliance. Homage to glorious light. Homage to glory without sorrow. Homage to the sun of non-craving. Homage to glory of flowers. Homage to the Tathagata radiant pure display of complete omniscience. Homage to the Tathagata completely omniscient display of lotus light. Homage to glory of wealth. Homage to glory of mindfulness. Homage to widely renowned glorious name. Homage to the king victory banner that crowns the sovereign.
Cecile?
Homage to the glorious one who fully subdues. Homage to the sublime victor in battle. Homage to the one gone beyond through complete victory. Homage to glorious illuminating array. Homage to all subduing lotus jewel. Homage to the king of Mount Meru, the Tathagata Arhat, perfectly complete Buddha abiding on a jewel lotus. All these are, and all the Tathagatas, all the Arhats, however many perfectly complete Buddhas abide in all the worlds of the 10 directions, and all the Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors who prevail in this world, please heed me.
Jesper, the first half of page 54 until like the Sangha of the 10 directions.
In these and former lives, without beginnings, in all the states of birth within samsara, I have committed evil deeds. I have instigated others and found joy in their crimes. I have stolen the wealth of stupas, the Sangha community, and the Sangha of the 10 directions.
Elena, the rest of page 54.
I have incited others to steal. I found joy in their deaths. I have commuted in 5 immediate sins, have incited others to commit them, and have found joy in their downfalls. I have fully entered the path of engaging in the 10 unsold home deeds, have incited others to enter it, and have found joy in their submission.
Leonard, the first half of 55.
Obscured by all these karmic veils, I and sentient beings have gone to hell, have gone to the birthplaces of animals, have gone to the worlds of hungry ghosts, have taken birth in savage places, as barbarians, as long-lived gods, and as humans with impact sense faculties. I have turned to corrupted views and karmic obscurations from having failed to please the Buddhas I encountered.
Next, Adriana.
In the presence of
Adriana, you have muted yourself, I think. Adriana?
See? In the presence of the in the presence of the Bhagavan Buddha wisdom mind, before their eye, in the witness, before the authentic ones, an all-knowing one, and the all-seeing ones. I disclose all these karmic obscuration. I declare them, I shall not hide them, and hereafter I shall sever and bind them.
Page 56, Tracy, first half of the page until, actually, Tracy, why don't you do this whole page, 56?
Okay. All Buddhas, transcendent conquerors, please heed me. I gather all the roots of virtue I have accumulated in cyclic existence through having acted generously toward another samsaric sentient being, even only offering a mouthful of food to those born in the animal realm. Together with any root of virtue from having guarded moral discipline, any root virtue from having practiced pure conduct, any root of virtue from having brought sentient beings to full maturity, any root of virtue from having given rise to bodhicitta, the mindset on supreme awakening.
Half of page 57, Samantha. Samantha, please unmute yourself.
She had to leave.
Go ahead, Fabiola, then.
And any root of virtue from unsurpassed primordial awareness accumulated in this and former lives without beginning within samsara, all these I dedicate them perfectly, supremely, most supremely, and sublimely towards unsurpassed, perfect, complete awakening.
Anna Isabel.
Just as the previous Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly performed dedication, and just as the Bhagavan Buddhas who have not yet appeared will perfectly perform dedication. And just as the present Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly perform dedication, likewise shall I perform perfect dedication. I confess each and every wrongdoing and rejoice in all merit.
Vicky? Vicky, are you there? Please unmute.
Sorry.
Top of page 58.
I exhort and supplicate all Buddhas that I may attain unsurpassed, most excellent primordial wisdom. With my palms joined together, I wholeheartedly take refuge in all those with praiseworthy qualities as infinite as a vast ocean, all the Buddhas supreme among humans who exist at present, those who have passed into Nirvana, and those who have not yet appeared.
Now back to page 50. This I'm going to chant the names in Tibetan. So people who want to do prostrations during the chanting of the names in Tibetan, is a good time to do a few. You don't have to try to do 35, but just a few, as many as you're comfortable doing. And then we will read then the last two sections in English. Semjen tamjen tangpar lama la kyabsu jiwo sanje la kyabsu jiwo chola kyabsu jiwo kenden la kyabsu jiwo chum dende deshin shepa chachumpa yangdang para sope sanje shankya tupa la cha selo tuje ningpo ramtu chumpa la cha selo rinchen odro la cha selo lu wangyi gyabo la cha selo Pawo de la jasalo, Belgie la jasalo, Rinjen me la jasalo, Rinjen dao la jasalo, Tongwa donyo la jasalo, Rinjen dawa la jasalo, Drima meba la jasalo, Bajin la jasalo, Tamba la jasalo, Tambe jin la jasalo, Chu la jasalo, Chule la jasalo, Bel zang la jasalo, Chenden bella jazalo, Siji daye la jazalo, Obel la jazalo, Nyangen mebe bella jazalo, Zeme ki bula jazalo, Medo bella jazalo, Dijin sheba zambe ozen namba roba, Ngumbar gen pala jazalo, Dijin sheba beme ozen namba roba, Ngumbar gen pala jazalo, Nur bella jazalo, Drembe bella jazalo, Tempel Shindu Yondra La Jazelo, Wambo Dogi Gelzengi Gelbo La Jazelo, Shindu number Numbe Bella Jazelo, Yule Shindu number Gyawa La Jazelo, Nambara Numbe Shebe Bella Jazelo, Kune Nangwa Gobe Bella Jazelo, Rinchen Bema number Numba La Jazelo, Deshin Shepa Dajumba, Yanda Barazobe, Sanje Rimboje, Pema la raptu shukba re wangi gyabo la jazelo. All the Tathagatas, Arhats, however many perfectly complete Buddhas abide in all the worlds of the 10 directions, and all the Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors who prevail in this world. Please heed me. Now, page 54. Leonard, can you read 54?
Sorry, Leonard or Laura?
Leonard, go ahead, 54.
Okay. In these and former lives without beginning, in all the states of birth within samsara, I have committed evil deeds. I have instigated others and found joy in their crimes. I have stolen the wealth of stupas, the Sangha community, and the Sangha of the 10 directions. I have incited others to steal and found joy in their thefts. I have committed the 5 immediate sins. I have incited others to commit them and have found joy in their downfalls. I have fully entered the path of engaging in the 10 unwholesome deeds, have incited others to enter it, and have found joy in their submission.
Next page, Randy. Page 55. Please unmute. How about Joyce, page 55?
Obscured by all these karmic veils, I and sentient beings have gone to hell, have gone to the birthplaces of animals, have gone to the worlds of hungry ghosts, have taken birth in savage places as barbarians, as long-lived gods, and as humans with impaired sense faculties. I have turned to corrupted views and karmic obscurations from having failed to please the Buddhas I encountered. In the presence of the Bhagavan Buddha's wisdom mind, before their eyes in their witness, before the authentic ones, the all-knowing one, the all-seeing ones, I disclose all these karmic obscurations, I declare them, I shall not hide them, and hereafter I shall sever and bind them.
David, if you are there, David Cutshaw, page 56.
Okay.
56.
Okay. I gather all roots of virtue I have accumulated in cyclic existence through having acted generously towards another samsaric sentient being, even only offering a mouthful of food to those born in the animal realm, together with any root of virtue from having guarded moral discipline, any root of virtue from having practiced pure conduct, any root of virtue from having brought sentient beings to full maturity, any root of virtue from having given rise to bodhicitta, the mindset on supreme awakening.
57, Maria Cristina.
And any root of virtue from unsurpassed primordial awareness, accumulated in this and former lives without beginning within samsara. All this I dedicate them perfectly, supremely, most supremely, and sublimely towards unsurpassed, perfectly complete awakening. Just as the previous Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly performed dedication, and just as the Bhagavan Buddhas who have not yet appeared will perfectly perform dedication, and just as the present Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly perform dedication, likewise shall I perform perfect dedication. I confess each and every wrongdoing and rejoice in all merit.
Rodrigo.
I exhort and supplicate all Buddhas that I may attain unsurpassed, most excellent primordial wisdom. With my palm joined together, I wholeheartedly take refuge in all those with praiseworthy qualities, as infinite, as vast as an ocean. All the Buddhas supreme among humans who exist at present, those who have passed into nirvana, and those who have not yet appeared.
Back to page 50. Again, I'm going to chant the first part in Tibetan. Then the second and third part, I'm going to read in English. So those of you who want to do some prostrations throughout this whole next recitation, you don't have to worry about being called. You can just do prostrations.
I'll take the English, hon.
You'll take the English? Okay.
I'll take the English.
Okay. Semjen tamje tapara lama la gyabzu jiwa sanje la gyabzu jiwa chola gyabzu jiwa genden la gyabzu jiwa jun dende deshin shepa dajumba yanda para zobe sanje shakya tuba la jaza lo durje nimpu rabdu jumba la jaza lo rinjen odro la jaza lo luwangi gyabo la jaza lo Pavo de la jasalo, Belge la jasalo, Rinjin me la jasalo, Rinjin dao la jasalo, Tongwa donyo la jasalo, Rinjin dawa la jasalo, Drima me ba la jasalo, Pajin la jasalo, Changpa la jasalo, Changpe jin la jasalo, Chula la jasalo, Chule la jasalo, Pelzang la jasalo, Jinden be la jasalo, Zichi taye la jasalo, Obel la jasalo, Nyangye mebe bela jasalo, Seme gibu la jasalo, Mito bela jasalo, Deshin sheba zambe, Oze namba roba ngombara gemba la jasalo, Deshin sheba beme, Oze namba roba ngombara gemba la jasalo, No bella jasalo, Jembe bella jasalo, Zembe jindu yangda la jasalo, Wangbo togi gyazengi gyabo la jasalo, Shindu number nombe bella jasalo, Yule shindu number gyawa la jasalo, Number nombe shebe bella jasalo, Kune nangwa kobe bella jasalo, Rinjen bema number nomba la jasalo, Dishin sheba dajumba, Yanda Barazobe, Sanje Rinpoche, Pema la Rabdu, Jubari, Wangi Gyabola, Jaselo.
All these and all the other Tathagatas who are Arhats, however many perfectly complete Buddhas abide in all the worlds of the 10 directions, and all the Buddhas, the transcendent conquerors who prevail in the world, please heed me. In this and former lives without beginning, in all states of birth within samsara, I have committed evil deeds. I have instigated others and found joy in their crimes. I have stolen the wealth of stupas, the Sangha community, and the Sangha of the 10 directions. I have incited others to steal and found joy in their theft. I have committed the 5 immediate sins, have incited others to commit them, and have found joy in their downfalls. I have fully entered the path of engaging in the 10 unwholesome deeds, have incited others to enter it, and have found joy in their submission. Obscured by all these karmic veils, I and sentient beings have gone to hell, have gone to the birthplace of animals, have gone to the worlds of hungry ghosts, have taken birth in savage places, as barbarians, as long-lived gods, and as humans with impaired sense faculties. I have turned corrupted views and karmic obscurations from having failed to please the Buddhas I encountered. In the presence of the Bhagavan Buddha wisdom mind, before their eyes, in their witness, before the authentic ones, the all-knowing ones, the all-seeing ones, I disclose all these karmic obscurations. I declare them, I shall not hide them, and hereafter I shall sever and bind them. Keep going. All Buddhas, transcendent conquerors, please heed me. I gather all the roots of virtue I have accumulated in cyclic existence through having acted generously towards another samsaric sentient being, even only offering a mouthful of food to those born in the animal realm, together with any root of virtue from having guarded moral discipline, any root virtue from having practiced pure conduct, any root of virtue from having brought sentient beings to full maturity, any root of virtue from having given rise to bodhicitta, the mindset on supreme awakening, and any root of virtue from the unsurpassed primordial awareness accumulated in this and former lives without beginning within samsara. All these I dedicate perfectly, supremely, most supremely, and sublimely towards unsurpassed, perfect, complete awakening. Just as the previous Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly performed dedication, and just as the Bhagavan Buddhas who have not yet appeared will perfectly perform dedication, and just as the present Bhagavan Buddhas perfectly perform dedication, likewise shall I perform perfect dedication. I confess each and every wrongdoing. I rejoice in all the merit. I exhort and supplicate all the Buddhas that I may attain unsurpassed, most excellent primordial wisdom. With my palms joined together, I wholeheartedly take refuge in all those with praiseworthy qualities, as infinite as vast as ocean, all the Buddhas supreme among humans who exist at the present, those who have passed into nirvana, and those who have not yet appeared.
Thank you. So we have completed 3 recitations of the main practice. So now let me take us back to going through the text that we started. So we covered Gampopa's presentation of the 4 powers. So now looking at the Sutra of 3 Heaps itself on page 54. First of all, I want to call your attention to a reliable source for, especially when you come across these lists, 3 of this, 5 of that, 7 of this. A reliable source on the internet is rigpawiki.org. RIGPAWIKI.org. Someone can type that in the chat window. rigpawiki.org. That is a reliable source there. And particularly in there, if you go to rigpawiki.org, on the left column, there is main page and categories. So if you go to categories, well, actually in that column, main page, categories, key terms, enumerations. Under enumerations there, you will see them listing out all the 1s, all the 2s, all the 3s, all the 4s, all the 5s, all the 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and so on and so forth. So that is a reliable source for you to look up. Sometimes you didn't hear everything that was said. You can go look up. Then again, a reminder, our daily practice is uploaded on YouTube. Uploaded on YouTube. Omar, if you can give that link. We have to be constantly reminded where all things are, because there are so many things. The Drigong Dhamma Kirti YouTube channel, our daily practices. So you can go back and listen to things from there. In case you have forgotten, in case you didn't hear everything, you can go back and listen there. Need to be clearer about this or that, please go listen to that. Then another source, maybe not so easily used than the Rigpa site, Gampopa's jewel ornament has explanation for many of these lists of things. Right? It's like a compendium, it's like an encyclopedia of all this information. Right? So if you want more detailed explanation, you can also go there. Right? So anyway, now page 54. So here, right, it's 3 things, 3 ways you can say that we can create negative karma. Either by ourselves doing them directly through body, speech, and mind, through physical actions, verbal actions, or mental, emotional acting. 3 ways in which we can create negative karma. Of course, positive karma too. 3 ways. then specifically here, this text emphasizes through these body, speech, and mind, so to say, physical, verbal, and mental. Here it discusses it in terms of you having done it yourself, you instigating, encouraging someone else to do it, and you finding joy that it is done. Yeah? This, of course, also applies to positive. You doing it yourself, you encouraging someone to do, and you rejoicing when the good has been done. But in this case, right, we're working on clearing the negative. So it talks about how if you have stolen from the wealth of the stupas, from the Sangha community, or the Sangha community of the 10 directions, whether you have stolen yourself, you have encouraged others to do it, or you have found joy in others having done this. So these types of thefts, especially, are very negative. Then I have committed the 5 immediate sins, have incited others to commit them, and have found joy in their downfalls. Yeah. So now, just to test out this Rigpa Wiki site, now I will go to the 5 under enumerations and look for this 5 immediate sins. So looking at that, 5 immediate. Let's see if it is there. You have to look and see. Maybe it's not there. Just as I say, oh, many things are there, then maybe it's not there. So quickly, I don't see it. But the 5 immediate sins, so to say. The translator here used the word sin because this is a very, very negative kind of actions. Very heavy actions. Oh yes, 5 crimes with immediate retribution is how the Rigpa Wiki site translates it. 5 crimes, sins. Not just like, oh, unskillful, this is really negative. So with immediate retribution, the suffering comes immediately. What are these? So it says here, killing one's father, killing one's mother, killing a Shravaka, maliciously drawing blood from the body of a Buddha. Not if you are a doctor, you are doing surgery on a Buddha. That's not. But maliciously. Yeah? And then creating a schism in the Sangha. Causing a monastic community, a harmonious monastic community, to break up in anger. These are the 5 heinous acts, or boundless crimes, or inexpiable acts. The 5 sins of immediate effect. These are various different translations. So not much to say, It's pretty obvious why these 5 are so negative. One thing to maybe say is like, why didn't it say killing a Buddha? And instead it says drawing blood, right? And because according to the way it is explained, Buddhas cannot be killed by anyone. If they are Buddhists, they cannot be killed by anyone. But you can go to the extent of like causing them to bleed and to harm them that way. So these are the 5 immediate sins. So have incited, have done it ourselves, have incited others to do them, and have found joy in their downfalls. Then I have fully entered the path of engaging in the 10 unwholesome deeds. Yeah, the 10 unwholesome deeds. These 10 unwholesome deeds are divided into physical, verbal, and mental emotional. Then again, if you go to the Rigpa, I'm sure it is there. So as under 10 unwholesome actions. So the 10 unwholesome actions is to take life, to kill, to take what is not given, to steal, to engage in sexual misconduct. So these are the 3 of the physical. Then the 4 of the verbal, I have my way of remembering them, which is, I call them the 4 Ds. Deceptive speech, deceptive speech, divisive speech, divisive speech, then I already forgot, deceptive, divisive, then basically harmful speech, hurtful speech, deceptive, divisive, and then harmful speech, and then distracted speech, which is like destructive speech. Good. not enough coffee this morning, Melissa, remember. Destructive speech, and then distracted speech, which is often translated as idle chatter, blah 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 blah. So those are the 4 Ds. Then the 3 of the mind is to covet, I want, and then ill will, always thinking of wanting to hurt others, to harm others, or any thought of wanting to hurt or to harm or to cause pain to others, and wrong views. So these are the 10. Among wrong views, the most dangerous is the wrong views pertaining to karma. And the most gross of that is saying actions have no consequences. As long as you can run away from being caught doing negative things, then you're fine. That is like the worst of wrong views. Or variations of that, if I kill, if I harm, then I can benefit. As long as I don't get caught. Or offering sacrifices will achieve the goal of happiness. Extremely negative wrong view. So these are the 10 unwholesome deeds, the 10 non-virtues. Have incited others to enter it, have found joy in their submission, meaning others submit to our instigating, do this, and then they have. So this section just summarizes some of the main negative actions of body, speech, and mind that one could be involved in, but one could have created, and therefore created a lot of negative karma in the past. So we uncover. So it's also a way of reminding ourselves, right? These are the acts that we should not do. So the next section is pertaining to that section that says, obscured by these karmic veils, right? I and all sentient beings have gone to the hell realms, have gone to the birthplaces of animals, have gone to the worlds of hungry ghosts, have taken birth in savage places as barbarians, as long-lived gods, and as humans with impaired sense faculties. I have turned to corrupted views and karmic obscurations for having failed to please the Buddhas I encountered. Right. So this is the most, again, severe, you can say, the most severe consequences of having created those unskillful actions. So here, going to the hell realms doesn't need to mean, after this body is gone. Even now, how many times we have gone to the hell realms? How many times we have gone to birthplaces of animals, so to say, meaning driven by just barely surviving, right? That is the suffering of the hell realm, of the animal realm. Barely surviving, not knowing, if we are safe, not knowing when we will get harmed, not knowing when we might be able to have the next meal, having no control at all. Like even our pets, of course, they are very fortunate, right, compared to wild animals in a way, especially if you are so good to them. But even that, they are completely at your mercy. When they're hungry, they cannot go get a can opener and have their yummy food. If they are thirsty, they might even have to go to the toilet bowl if you forget to fill their bowl. They're completely at others' mercy. That's the suffering of the animal realm. And then, of course, beyond that, they are eaten, they are killed. World of the hungry spirits, it said that kind of hunger cannot be satisfied. You're always hungry, always needy. And we have all experienced that, feeling very needy. For sure, we've all experienced that. So we've been in the hungry ghost realm even this lifetime. Hungry for attention, hungry for praise, hungry for love, hungry, hungry, hungry. Hungry ghost realm. The description of the hungry ghost realm, they say these ghosts, sometimes they have stomachs the size of mountains, throats the size of needles. Well, that's the kind of hunger, Try filling a stomach as big as a mountain with a throat as narrow as a needle. How impossible it is to fill that hunger. Some of the description of these hungry ghosts say, no, they don't have stomachs the size of mountains. In fact, they have shrunken stomachs, narrow necks, but then their mouth, anytime they put any edible things on their mouth, it burns their face. It burns their face. Again, how many times we thought, oh, that is good to eat. And I don't mean just physical eating, emotional eating, right? That is good to eat. And then, in my trips to Bhutan, there are people who, at their first meal there, if I forget to warn them, they are on the buffet line and they see, oh, look, fried green vegetables, and they take a whole bunch. And then they eat, It turns out that, no, they're just fried, spicy chili peppers. Then immediately the face burns up, Yeah, in Bhutan, hot peppers, they're not condiment, they are vegetables. Yeah, they eat that as vegetables. Yeah. Immediately the mouth burns up, Then emotionally, we're so hungry, we grab whatever emotion we can suck out of anyone, thinking that this will satisfy. Immediately, your face burns up. Yeah? Some of this, another description of the hungry ghost is they say, there's another type of hungry ghost where they can eat. So they eat. In the daytime, it says, but at the nighttime, it says, what goes into the stomach turns into like molten lava. Like molten lava of the volcano and shoots up, it says, and burns from the inside out. Yeah. And of course, many of us, especially older among us, have had, heartburns, right, in the middle of the night. Oh, during dinner at the Bhutanese restaurant or the Thai restaurant, yum, yum. Even if the mouth doesn't burn, goes into the stomach, then, in the middle of the night, heartburns. Even though, then maybe you don't have heartburns, then when it leaves the next morning, somewhere else burns, So these are all the suffering of hungry ghosts that we experience, whether literal food or emotions or, what kind of neediness, hungry, hungry, hungry. Then birth in savage places. Birth in savage places is basically places where a sense of right and wrong, is completely out the window. Nobody cares anything about that. Likewise, in the land of the barbarians, no concern for what we might call, what His Holiness the Dalai Lama called, universal values. There are places where what we think is universal has no meaning. They have thrown that out. Again, even in this lifetime, we have been born in savage places as barbarians. Then the other extreme, but still, a problem, is to be born as a long-lived God. So this actually refers to like the formless realm, if you want to be very technical. But a broader meaning of that is a God in samsara is defined by tremendous pleasure and happiness. But this kind of pleasure and happiness is still part of samsara. But you're so engrossed in pleasure and happiness that you think, everything is great. And then when the time comes for that to go away, you suffer tremendously. In many ways, those of us who live in the United States and many other places are actually suffering as long-lived gods. Because everything is so comfortable. Again, I look at the documentary on hermits, and you look at the conditions that they live in. One interview with a nun, she said, she was commenting on how, this used to be very small, this cave, this hermitage, this retreat hut. But she said, but I've, expanded that, and that. And she said, now, she said, when I first came up here 20, 30 years ago, we have to go down to the mountain, every few weeks, try to carry as much as we can in terms of food and bring up here. And she said, life was not easy then. And so then the interviewer says, yeah, it looks like, and she said, yeah, she said, when you came up to this mountain, you saw all the huts. Yeah, they're all like very good now, she said. So they're kind of like, yeah, things are good. And then she said, but the heart dedicated, the mind dedicated to the path, she said, that I think has gone down, she said. She said, when we become too comfortable, then inevitably, she says, the mind that turns towards the Dharma have gone down. It's poignant because she clearly, she's not pretentious. She's not, she is appreciating how things are nicer. Her hut is nicer. Her food is more guaranteed now. But she said, but I can't help but think overall on this mountain, dedication to Dharma, mind turning towards the Dharma, Dharma turning towards the Dharma has deteriorated. So we, are really in this predicament of the long-lived gods. Even our Dharma centers, you know. Of course, in Dharma centers, we try to make it very comfortable for everyone. But there is a danger to that, you know. Then everyone thinks everything has to be comfortable. Then the minute something doesn't go right, you think, oh, this is bad. I talked about how, you know, people at Dharma Center in the winter, and there's the thermostat, you know, in the practice room. You're done. At TMC practice room, oh my gosh, you know, yeah. You know, someone will turn it up, then later someone would turn it down, then someone would turn it up, and someone would turn it down. And you can just tell, you know, it's all the resentment is brewing already, you know. Why are you turning it up? Why are you turning it down? Why are you turning it up? Why are you turning it down? You know, then others are maybe, you know, resenting, you know, the ups and the downs, you know, don't really care whether it's up or down, you know. We are so kind of like cannot take, you know, difficulty, because we have been trained, unfortunately, by this patterning of thoughts, that the minute something is disagreeable, why suffer? I mean, on that level, it makes sense. But the problem is, if we keep feeding this idea that whatever is wrong, I can go fix it, right? Probably true, but there will come a point where you cannot fix, and then what? Then your heart has no capacity to handle when you cannot fix. And you guess what? When you cannot fix is when you are laying on that bed. If you're lucky enough to be laying on the bed and dying, you cannot fix. At that point, all your terrors will come. Because you habituated this idea that the slightest discomfort I can fix. Yes, for a short time. Yes, for a short time. But when you really try to fix it and you want to fix it so much you cannot, all of that has abandoned you. Tremendous suffering comes. So we have to train now. As simple as, you know, I remember one teaching early on. I received this, you know, like it's like even as simple as like an itch during meditation, during practice, an itch that you feel. Don't immediately go scratch it. No, the Buddha has nothing against scratching itches. This is not an anti-scratching cult. Yeah, we might be some other cult. We are not an anti-scratching cult. Yeah, but you use that as a way to train. Note the mind and how much a simple itch can occupy the mind. Train. During practice, you know, don't fidget. Without even thinking, move. Without even thinking, scratch. Without even thinking, play with things, you know. All that is just continuing the patterns of without any awareness. This is not talking about like you know, like forcing and controlling. This is encouraging you to start with the little things. Bring more awareness to how we habitually respond to situations and conditions. Just however, you know, you're able to do that, we should do that. Yeah. And so, the predicament of the long-lived gods, you know, and as humans with impaired sense faculties, of course, you know, now technology is making it easier and easier for people who cannot hear, cannot see, to be able to read and to communicate. But more deeper, this problem is, you know, even if you have eyes, functional eyes, you don't see. That means we're so distracted. We don't see, we don't hear, we don't understand. Now, all of this have caused, then the most dangerous in a way is I have turned to corrupted views and karmic obscurations because I failed to please the Buddhas I encountered. And we already started talking a little bit about this. Of course, you can interpret this as the way that Christians talk about, maybe you have entertained angels and you didn't even know. How are you treating other people? Yes, there's that layer. But here more specifically is talking about, even in the presence of Buddhists, because of our karmic obscurations and corrupted views, we have not taken what they have taught us seriously. We don't take to heart what they have taught us. To please the Buddhas is to put the teachings into practice. That's the meaning of pleasing, not flattering Buddhists, not trying to buy favors to become Buddha's pet, teacher's pet, to become a yes man or yes woman to everything. Yes, yes, yes. No, Buddhists, if they're Buddhists, they should not care about this. But what they do care about is that you practice what they have given. Not accumulate knowledge, Oh my gosh, we have too much knowledge. In their documentary Hermit, one monk, another monk, and I sort of took that to heart, Let's see, And that monk, he said, I used to spend time explaining, giving talks, teaching the lay people. He said, and it was satisfying on some level, but at some point I understood it's not very helpful. Better I show them how to practice mantra repetition, mindfulness of Buddha, meditation, because I give them a lot of information. They get a lot of information. I seem happy. They seem happy. He says, but when problem comes, it doesn't help. A bunch of information. He says, better to just say to them, you just recite more the mantras to train your mind. You just do prostrations. He's talking about experiencing the difficulties and the discipline. If we don't use the discipline to train ourselves, all this information, not very useful, not very helpful. Because most of us are overeducated. So we have bought into the idea that the more we know, the better it is. But I think, especially in the Dharma context, many of us have so much exposure to a lot of high and fancy ideas. But the suffering that arises right in front of us, we don't know what to do with it. Anyway, today we should end here. Page 63. Please act according to the pledge you took when you engaged in bodhisattva deeds, and thus purify the negativities and downfalls of myself and other beings. By apprehending your name, by repeating and calling it again and again, I supplicate you to purify, exhaust, and cleanse entirely the negativities, downfalls, and obscurations of all wandering beings. In these evil times, sentient beings' actions have degraded. Impure and unawakened, our minds are suffused with negative emotions. Our offerings are scanty. They are marred by stains and other faults. Please forgive us all mistakes. The auspicious verses on page 64. The light of boundless compassion clears away the evil states and dispels demonic forces, hindrances, and hosts of wickedness. May the splendid power of the victorious ones, equal to 100,000 suns, bring forth the happiness and fortune of infinite living beings. The stream of nectar flowing from the immaculate Dharmadhatu space fully cleanses the stains of evil tendencies. May the splendid power of the holy Dharma of the cessation and path bring forth the happiness and fortune of infinite living beings. In order to eliminate the endless torment of cyclic existence, you have not abandoned the heavy burden of your vows and aspirations. May the splendid power of the ocean of great and noble bodhisattvas bring forth the happiness and fortune of infinite living beings. The Sukhavati aspiration prayer. Emaho nosa sanje nangwa taye dang yesu jobo tuje chenpo dang yondu semba tuje tonamla sanje changsen pame kurgi kur degi ngosa bagdu meba ye dewa chinse shawe shinkam de dashen dine zebo girma ta kewa zenje barma chuparu Deru kene nante shadon jo dege dagi monlam tabadi joju sanje changsen tamche gi keme rupa jinji labdu so deya da benza driya awa bodhanaya soha chanchu sem chorim poche Mage banam ge gyuche ge banyam ba me bayam gone gong du peor sho. So I'll leave a little bit of time for those of you who can stick around to answer some questions, have some discussion. Then some of you quite late at night, maybe it's time to go to sleep. Some of you have Sunday brunch to go to, maybe you should go. Questions or comments?
Not to lie, I watched that film last night.
Good?
Yeah, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on there last night that I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this tradition has it's an interesting backstory to this. Maybe 25 years ago, as long as that, an American Buddhist writer, poet called Bill Porter. His pen name is Red Pine. He lived in Taiwan for many years, learned Chinese. And then in the, I think maybe early or late 80s, he traveled to mainland China because he has read historical accounts of mountain hermits, Buddhist, Taoist, sometimes not very clear what tradition, but these mountain hermits. So in the 80s, he went to China. When China opened up, allowed people to go in, he went looking for these hermits. And so there are some famous mountains where these hermits, retreatants lived in. But everywhere he went in the city, people say, "Oh, hermits! No, no more. This is finished. We don't have these people." But he didn't give up. So eventually, he went up this one famous place, and he discovered all these people in retreat, mostly older, but also some middle age, and then some a little younger. So that book was published. It's called Road to Heaven. Road to Heaven. Very inspiring. If you want to read that book, I think it could have used a better editor. But nonetheless, good book. Road to Heaven. Then Road to Heaven inspired, maybe 10 years later, after it was published, inspired a young American college graduate to go to that mountain and to produce a documentary which is called Amongst White Clouds, which you can watch on YouTube. Amongst White Clouds. The producer of that is called Edward Berger, B-U-R-G-E-R. And that was Edward Berger's going up to meet these hermits. Then now in 2014, well, almost 6-7 years ago, Bill Porter himself did a project where he went back to the mountains and he went to interview these hermits, these retreatants. So it's and so the backstory to that is now this mountain has way more retreatants than when Edward Berger went, and definitely when Bill Porter first went and wrote that book. And it's because of Bill Porter's book that was first published in English, then translated into Chinese, and that book was translated in China and sold. Then many people reading that book, especially university graduates, went up to the mountains into retreat. So that's pretty amazing. Like, don't underestimate, what your actions might be. Bill Porter thought, he said, I wrote this because I wanted the West, and especially Westerners were interested in Buddhism, Taoism, to not have this kind of heady experience, ideas, theory. He said, I wrote this book because I wanted Americans to see this is how people live their dharma. And he said, what I did not expect is that this book then became the inspiration for so many young Chinese people to head to the mountains.
I never heard of Bill Porter before, so he's relatively new to me now. So
yeah, Bill Porter has published quite a number of books, translations. Red Pine is his pen name. Some books he published with the name Red Pine, some books Bill Porter.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice guy. I met him once. Very friendly. And when you watch this, you sense like, yeah, these are like, reminds me of the early Kagyupa masters. Especially, of course, many lineage also have, but especially the early Kagyupa masters. It's like practice, head to the mountains, head to the forest.
I have something to share. Somewhat related to what you were saying today. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm not sure if
yes.
Somewhat related to what you were saying. I spent a year working in Turkey a long time ago. And in Turkey, when you're a guest in someone's house, anyone who comes to someone's house is considered to be the Prophet Muhammad. That's how they live. And I'll never forget how gracious and incredible those people were, and it changed my life, because if you treat people with that kind of respect, Just
Yes.
imagine how happy you can be, really.
Yes.
It was, they really live it. They really believe it. I
Um,
went to one house in Izmir. I ended up with a friend in Izmir at 2 o'clock in the morning. We ended up there. And it was his sister's house. And in the middle of that night, they got up and made us this huge meal. And 3 in the morning, we had this huge meal. And,
yeah.
it's really wonderful.
Traditions of hospitality in many of these areas are way more, elaborate, and also people pay attention to that. So for some of us who weren't born in the United States, when we come here, especially when we come from those cultures, it was quite a shock, actually. It's not that Americans are not generous. It's just a very different style, It's more like, I'll open the door for you. If you turn up at 2 a.m., then it's like, okay, no choice. Okay, sure. I'll open the door for you. I'll show you where the fridge is. I'll show you where the microwave is. And then I'm going to sleep now. Right? But it's generous. I'm not saying it's not. I mean, of course, individually we can be generous or stingy, but overall it's just like, yeah, I don't care, eat whatever you want from the fridge, but don't ask me to make it, I'm going back to sleep. So very different,
But I really felt it was a generosity based on a real feeling that you could be Muhammad. That, it's kind of like seeing, namaste, the idea of seeing, Buddha in another person. They really lived it.
And I have read books on on people walking the Nile and people walking Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and you go into their houses and you go and they host you, and you may not. I mean, they host you and they're elaborate, and they give you elaborate dishes and all that kind of stuff. So it's all very interesting. I like hearing stories of the world, how people do things in different sides of the world. I'm not stuck on the States. And I'm not going to bash the States, but I'm not stuck on the States. I want to see the world. I want to know about world. I read about the world. So it's utterly fascinating how different people, different cultures do things to me.
So, questions? Thank you for sharing. Any questions with what we covered today? If not, then, we're going to end here today. I want to also let you know that there will be money left over from especially the Sang offering part of the contributions. The lantern offering contributions, obviously there's left over because lanterns and the electricity, the lanterns are not newly bought. They're already owned by the center, but the leftover from there is going to be supporting the activities of Bodhi Heart Sanctuary. And I said one of their important activities is providing housing and food and hospitality to monks and nuns. Whoever monks and nuns who come there and want to stay for periods of time, they are taken care of at Bodhi Heart Sanctuary. So then the money that has been offered for the Sang offering, we are doing all these different things. Then whatever money that is left over there, I have now already started making arrangements for a pretty good size tanka of the 35 Buddhas to be painted. So it will be a good support. After we have that good, size 35 Buddha tanka painted according to how it's described in this text, then we will get a professional quality image taken. Then we can share that file with everyone who wants it. Then it will be a support for our practice. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Lai.
Yeah, we will continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lai.
Thank you. Ciao for now.
Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias, doctor.